What if I tell you that most people who appear for their data science interviews, they do not fail because they do not know machine learning or any other data science aspect. They fail because they are not able to explain the real problem they are trying to solve. Nowadays, when it comes to recruiters, they're not looking for people who can just build machine learning models, but they're looking for people who have business sense, people who know what they are doing and why are they doing it, people who know how to present it, people who know how to communicate their thoughts very well. I'm going to tell you how can you prepare for data science interviews really well. My name is Anuj and I am a certified master trainer. I am a data science instructor, and today I'm going to give you step-by-step guide in case you are preparing for a data science interview. What exactly should be your documentation? How should you present your projects? How should you structure your problem statements? How should you basically prepare for it and ask the right questions to a recruiter? And without any further delays, let's get straight into it. Alright guys, in this section we are going to talk about how do you present or frame your problem statement. So in any presentation, it's important to frame your problem very well. So in case I will take my example, if I'm going to showcase UPI fraud detection model to somebody, I'm going to explain why exactly did I design this project, what was my thought process, what exactly am I trying to solve through this project. So I could say something like, in a country like India where we have billions of people living, UPI is the most preferred platform to make the payments because it is free, at least for now. And variety of people, variety of age groups, variety of domains, markets are using it. So whether you're booking your movie tickets, you're using UPI. Whether you're buying vegetables, fruits, you're using UPI. And that is the beauty of UPI, that everybody is able to use it. It is user friendly. So what is the challenge with UPI? The challenge with UPI is that the audience that is using the UPI is very broad and diverse. We have people who are very smart, intelligent, and they are aware of how the technology works. So they can easily navigate through this. But we have the other sector, that is the fruit sellers, vegetable sellers, street vendors, who are not aware, they are not educated, they lack the technical know-how. They are just using it so to receive the money. But sometimes there are people who take advantage of this vulnerability and they extract money. With the help of machine learning, I was able to build a model that can predict with certain factors what transaction is likely to be a fraud transaction, and we can stop it right away. This is how you frame the problem statement. I'll take another example. Let's suppose you have designed a project that basically predicts the value of a used car, and you have designed it for a platform that is buying and selling used cars. So you could say something like, I have designed a machine learning model that allows us to predict the exact value or approximate value for a used car basis on certain parameters like the kilometers driven, the brand, and everything. Businessmen can generate more profit and minimize the losses by predicting and charging right value for the car and attracting more customers. The major takeaways I would recommend you is understand what was the goal, technical goal for the project. Number two, understand your audience. Who are you trying to explain the project? Majorly, it's going to be your non-technical audience. And then you can explain a bit of technical if you want. And number three, what was the outcome of the project? So for example, if I built a UPI fraud detection model, I could say something like my model was fairly accurate in determining what kind of transaction was likely fraud. This will be your goal or outcome of the project. Let's move on to the next section. Hi everyone, so in this section we are going to talk about, in case you are planning to showcase your projects to the interviewer, then what is the best way to showcase them. Now, what I have seen usually is that people start to showcase you the Jupyter Notebook files or even Visual Studio Code, of show the code entirely and start explaining it. Now, this might not be the best approach because number one, sometimes the code is not very well structured. Number two, sometimes the code is not very well documented. So in case your code is not finalized and very well presentable, do not showcase them the entire code right away, because secondly, even if the code is right but it is not structured or not well documented, it might go against your favor and you might get some negative questions. What I would recommend is always showcase your projects in a HTML file. So when you are done with your Jupyter Notebook, export it as a .html file or a PDF file and then showcase them the file. I'm going to show you an example. So as you can see on my screen, I'm going to show you that this is a well documented file. So this is an HTML file. It showcases the problem statement, what exactly is the data source, okay, the data set that I'm working on, my method of solving or building this entire project. And then as you can see, each step will be the code that I'm solving and then it will talk about what is my insights or text. Okay, so once you are doing all the steps, right? So what exactly can you understand from the code that I'm doing? So you just want to showcase them the text or the output. Do not kind of dive into the functions you're using and everything, because that's not important for them. For them, what's important is what is the outcome from the code? What can you see from the analysis? So if you're looking at this, so what is the overall percentage of the data? Okay, I would recommend focus on the visuals and then tell them that what is your insights or recommendations from the exploratory data analysis or data visualization. The text is more important than the code itself. This is the takeaway. Let's move on to the next section. All right, guys, so in this section, we are going to talk about how do you master the most important concepts very well. So mastering the core concepts is important. So let's suppose you're presenting a machine learning project. It is important to understand how do you prepare the data, how do you handle the missing values, duplicate values, outliers, detection, outlier treatment, then imputation, encoding, data pre-processing. These are the some very basic terms that they would expect you to understand very well. Overfitting, underfitting, bias and variance trade-off, things like that. So you can study about the most important questions in machine learning models, prepare them very well, and explain it to them in the right way. This way, you can structure your conversation and make sure that you have the deep understanding of these core concepts very well. All right, guys, so in this section, we are going to talk about the trending topics in 2025. So recruiters love when you understand or when you know the latest technologies which are running around. You should understand what is generative AI, or at least know the basics, even if you do not know the technical aspect of Gen AI, but you should at least understand in what areas it can be beneficial, how this can be implemented, if you're able to design agentic AI or some applications where this fits best. Okay. So understanding the technical trends right now, what exactly is the emerging technology, what do you feel about it, explaining that can definitely help you get the extra edge. But I would recommend you not to talk about any emerging technology in a negative way. Always want to give a positive impression and positive things about it. This will help you. Let's move on to the next section. All right, guys, so in this section, we are going to talk about storytelling with data. So data alone is not ready or not sufficient enough to impress. You will have to tell a story that basically impresses. I'm going to give an example. So let's suppose I'm saying that my model had 85% accuracy. I could say something like, I have worked on a UPI fraud detection project. In my project, the challenge was that the fraud cases were very rare compared to the genuine transactions. So saying that the accuracy was 98% meant nothing. Instead, I had to focus on precision and recall. So with the help of my model, I was able to achieve a high recall, which means that I was able to capture most of the fraudulent transactions while maintaining a good enough precision so that my genuine customers were not impacted, you know, and they were not incorrectly flagged. So we did not lose customers who were genuinely trying to make a transaction, but we flagged it as fraud. So this is important. And with the help of this project, we saved lakhs of rupees and almost 10% reduction in the fraudulent transactions. So we presented the results with the help of a simple dashboard and trends and visuals that really help the business. So as you can see, if you're able to present these matrices with a story that how basically they have helped the business, how much percentage of the fraudulent transactions were reduced, that definitely gives you an upper edge. Let's move on to the next section. So in this section, we are going to talk about the projects that stand out. Now in 2025, we definitely do not want to make projects which are just very basic projects, which are based on, inbuilt data sets like Titanic or Iris, or you don't want to build projects which are based on just linear regression or decision trees, right? So you want to build a project that has at least a beginner to intermediate level of complication. For example, class imbalance, you want to focus on overfitting aspect, you want to focus on hyperparameter tuning or model validation, optimization techniques, right? These are some advanced techniques that you should try and include as much as possible. And also you should have a right, you can say, structure of your project. So whenever you're explaining it, you should have these 5 elements in your project. Number one is the objective. So what problem did you try and solve? Number two is the method. What method did you try to use while solving or building the project? Number three is the challenges that you faced used while creating or building the project. Then the insight. So what patterns did you uncover? Next is the impact, which is what exactly was the value that you added to the business, or why does your project matter? Let's move on to the next section. So in this section, we are going to talk about the behavioral edge or the communication edge. So understand that technology is not just going to help you cracking the roles in 2025. The managers or the HR will understand how do you communicate the problems and solutions to anybody, right? So how good are you in terms of ability to articulate your thoughts? Sometimes they will ask you questions like, can you tell me a problem or data problem that you have solved? They could also ask you something like, can you please explain machine learning to somebody who is non-technical in nature? How would you explain this complex topic to somebody who is non-technical? They will ask you these questions to understand how well you are able to explain, something to a non-technical audience. And that is why I would recommend there is an approach which is called the STAR method. So whenever you're explaining something, STAR method is the easiest method that you can use, wherein S stands for situation, T stands for task, A is the action you have taken, and R is the result you have achieved. I'll give an example of the project that I have made. So to give you an example, I could say that in my UPI fraud detection project, we had very few fraud cases, which becomes my situation. My task was to build a machine learning model that could catch frauds effectively and reliably. Now, I took the action of applying oversampling techniques uh, and using recall focus matrices instead of just using accuracy. And the result was that the bank could catch 30% more fraud cases, and which directly reduced financial loss to the bank. As you can see, the STAR approach is clear, structured, business focused, and that's how you basically stand out. So communication skills using the structured approach will help you. Keep this in mind. Let's move on to the next section. Now understand this, that most of the interviews are not one-sided. Smartest candidates will always try and ask questions, but most importantly, they want to ask the right questions. Now, whenever you're asking questions, you don't want to be asking very simple questions. For example, what's the work culture in the, in your team or something like that. You want to ask more mature questions from the business standpoint and from a technological curiosities perspective. So you could ask questions like, may I know what's the biggest pain point in the data science team that you're facing right now? Or when a model fails, so what basically is the first thing that the team looks at? Is it the data, the features, or something else, right? So asking these questions is important. Or you could also ask questions like, with the evolution of AI, how is your business preparing the existing data scientists to prepare for the time that is near to come, right? How are we using the AI tools, Gen AI tools, because it is booming everywhere. So how are you or your team basically upskilling or preparing themselves to do that? This will showcase that you're not just asking the right questions, but you're also prepared to understand. You also have the awareness about what is happening around you, right? Like AI is booming and there are a lot of layoffs happening in different big tech giants. So when this is happening, how is the existing team trying to upskill themselves and preparing themselves for it? This is a very interesting question, and you can ask similar questions in your interview as well. I hope that you found value from this video before I talk about the conclusion. If you did, please do like it and share in the comment section that this was helpful. And if you would want any more videos or any more topics, I would be more than happy to make videos on it. Uh, the reason I'm sitting here today and making this video is because I have seen countless presentations when people are working very hard in building projects, but when it comes to presenting it, they absolutely fail miserably. Now, the whole point is that you should understand that when you want to present it, the communication aspect is very important. Preparation is very important. Rehearsing is very important. Having the right structure is very important. I have tried my best to give you the idea, the structure, the thought process behind preparing for the interviews, and I really want to ensure that you do not just memorize algorithms or definitions. You should be focusing on framing the right problems, mastering fundamentals, linking your work to real business problems or impact, telling your story with clarity, which is very important. Remember that companies are not just hiring you to build machine learning models, they are hiring you to solve real problems and to save money, to reduce the risk, and to possibly create more opportunities. So I want to hear from all of you. What is one part of the data science interview that you struggle with the most? And is it problem framing? Is it the technical concepts? Is it storytelling? Drop it in the comments and I'm going to make a video on it. And if you found this useful, do not forget to share and subscribe. This is just the beginning and we'll keep on breaking down more interviews so that you are always ahead of the curve. This is me, Anuj, and I'm going to see you in the next video. Thank you.